we go. Hope everybody had a fantastic evening. Trump is doing more tweeting, baby, about Pelosi. Can't say the guy's wrong. Got to give him credit when credit's due. He's absolutely right. 25,000 liquidity to the downside. All right. So a little top wick here, 25. We have liquidity down to 25,000. We have 309 million. Nope. Sorry. 594 million in puts, 660 million in calls, back and forth. Gold 15-point dump to start. Yeah, Nasdaq dumped from 116 to 40, 25,040, and they're still top wicking here. Yesterday we saw. I'll move it back down. Yesterday we saw a beautiful sell, brief pop into the afternoon, and then a dump over into the close. So not looking all that good for the market here, of course. We knew the Rasky Red would play out, and it plays out beautifully every single week this week. The Linda Rasky play has done wonders. Done wonders. All liquidity right now is down to 25,000. We'll see how this is going to go. Big red move here. Another big top wick. See how this is going to go. I'm ready for some gold 3C play. Yeah, yesterday was fantastic. That was textbook. Amazing. I held that thing as long as I possibly could, and it worked out really well, man. But the gold continues to be incredibly clean. So if you're having struggles with Nasdaq, I have to encourage you all to go over to gold and track some 3Cs because it's gorgeous. Yes, chef's kiss. That's right. That's right. Some red engulfings here. If they give out this area, we're going to go for 25,000 right here, which will be interesting. Sitting right here at the lows. What's up, YouTube? How's it going? One sec. I'm just trying to get something loaded here. I'm having another issue. I think we're good to go. Okay. So, gold is 4,000. We're holding this lower range. I'd love to see a setup here. I want to let the momentum kind of fade before we start looking for a good 3C there. Of course, Nasdaq, y'all know me. I'd like to wait until 9:45, which we're still a bit of ways here. The data non-farm payroll this morning was, of course, canceled because of the government shutdown. There was some brief talk about the deal being struck today, but I don't think that's the case. Trump has already left the White House to go to Florida, so I don't know if they're actually going to make a deal today. But of course, we'll keep an eye on that and see if that actually plays out. 25,000 is going to be the first target. Still rolling back over. It's beautiful stuff. 1.1 billion in puts. Put flow is very strong. Taking a look at the longer time frame because I want to make sure we're doing our due diligence. This is not looking good for bulls. It's starting to break structure lower, and then of course, once we start triggering these lower liquidity zones and we get no bounces, you're going to lose track of supply or demand, and all of a sudden we're going to put on a pretty robust red move. This is how things start. 25,023 and dropping, looking for 25,000. 20 more points. $25,000, baby. We're getting it. There we go. Pummeling lower. There he goes. So far, 3-3 breakdown. The second couldn't do it. 25,000 right there, touched. Booyah. Booyah. VIX is skyrocketing here as well. It is 21.14 and climbing. We have a very material volatility pop. And that's another thing that Bot Gamma talked about, is that the premiums are carrying very high, and there's a sneaky vol expansion going on right now. We're not putting on any major red days, although yesterday was quite red. We're just kind of trickling down a little bit at a time here the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sessions now. And the volatility has been creeping up and up and up and up and up and up and not deflating. And that is a recipe for an explosion. So just keep an eye on things. We're getting pummeled right now. 25,000 and blasted, 24,969 and falling all the way down. Beautiful, beautiful move so far. Linda Rasky all the way down, baby. Love it. Good morning. How's it going, Cash? Dan? Beautiful stuff. Still going. Still going. 24.6 and dropping. Still going. 24.5. 9.5. 1.3 billion in puts. 24.940. Amazing stuff. I love the follow through. We finally get a little extension. It's good stuff. Gold's putting on a couple of bottom wicks here with volume. Of course, the higher high would be approximately 996, and that'll get you higher. NASDAQ is still collapsing. The entire market is just bleeding red. Nvidia is getting crushed. 183. Microsoft still getting crushed. Apple is starting to bounce. Everything else is getting crushed. Just looking for a decent setup. Another top wick. High volume. The last 3 candles on NASDAQ. Still going. We are coming up right now on the start of the week. Last week, 940 right here. We just blew through that. Next up is going to be 810. This is a very aggressive sell. Yep, possibly. Possibly. Not to mention we have this trend line here. I don't play trend lines, but it's coming up on it. It's not incredibly. The one I drew is not very accurate. I just kind of threw it up there, so don't hate me. Next target right now is going to be the 806. That's the next line of liquidity. It's just collapsing into that area. Very aggressive sell. We have 1.3 billion in puts. Now they are buying some calls here too. So I do expect some sort of a bounce after all of this big momentum. And we are going to play it. I'm going to get everything ready. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. $24,936. A full port would have been nice. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. A lot of volume coming in. Decent green. Higher high is about to click. On the 1 minute, of course. These are pretty large candles, too. We're talking 30.1 minute candles. So just be ready for it. It's aggressive. Coming up green right here. Once we get this area here, 955, we could look for higher. But until then, be careful. Do your own thing. There we go, 957. There's not a lot of liquidity down in this area, so it's interesting to bounce it here if they do. But regardless, the 3Cs will always treat us right. 1.2 billion in puts. They're still buying calls. They've been buying calls all the way down. And that's the difference here. That's the only reason I'm even considering a long position, is because they went up to 800 million in calls and climbing into this area. So they're still buying some calls. We just have to be patient. Play the downside right now. Imagine 12 minis on that gold dump. Yep. Yep. You'll probably, I mean, full porting like that, especially on gold, you might be 1 out of 10 times you might hit it, and the other 9 times you're going to blow up everything. But, yeah. All right, there it is. A little bit of green bounce, bottom wick right here. Trying to hold it. Ooh. 1.12, 1.21. And going, 969. Nasdaq coming up in the daily. There, 970. Next target is going to be 972. If they clear that, we'll go for the 50 retracement and then look to see how they're going to do what they just cleared. So the 50 retracement would be right about there, 020. Beautiful. There we go. Coming up to 972. Can it hold it? When you're playing a right side of the V bounce like this, of course, you have to be aware of market conditions. We have a lot of liquidity down 925, 900. They are buying some calls, yes. In fact, 900 million and climbing. But the momentum is strong. Momentum is strong. What's up, Mark? How you doing? Good morning. Good morning, Will. Looking for the next play. $120 a tick. Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. They're piling into 0DT calls here. 976, 980. There we go. Let's go for 021 now. Zero, 2, 1. Michigan consumer expectations top of the hour, and that is it for the day. Still going. Not 828. What? 990. Still going. Looking for 020. They rejected the 50 yesterday perfectly, so that's going to be my first target on this. Beautiful stuff. Watch gold. Yeah, hold on a second. Let me get it. Let me deal with this, and then we'll switch over to gold. 1.1 billion in calls. Selling off the puts. 1.1 billion in calls. That was a beautiful high volume inflow too. We had volume coming in here. We had top wicks, or bottom wicks, I'm sorry, and then we had put in the higher high, and up we go. And now we have 970. Can't quite make it to 20 yet. We have 1 billion in calls. My bad, Mojo. Change stream. There you go. You're welcome. Still climbing nicely. Still climbing nicely. Record-breaking cold front coming through the United States this weekend. No bueno. Hopefully things don't get dull too quickly. Hopefully. This is pretty fun so far. Gold is putting on a beautiful 3C, so a beautiful opportunity in gold if you wanted to. The long position would have happened about 3996. Nasdaq is still climbing up here as well, maintaining long bias until 020. After that 3C long bounce. There we go. Once we take out the 994, we'll go for 020. Just shift them up, baby. That's going to be my target. Breaking out the North Face gear. Heck yeah. See, there are certain times where I'm looking to play bounces, and certain times I'm not. Yesterday I was not looking to play the bounce. Today I was looking to play the bounce. And it's all based on a lot of things. One of which, the main thing, oh, there we go, red candle got out. One of which was going to be the pre-market action. So yesterday's pre-market action, we can go back and summarize. Yesterday's pre-market action was supportive. We actually had quite a green pre-market, and then right into about 840, they dumped it and rolled it all the way over aggressively. Then they put on this little micro bounce and then fell it back over again. So the momentum was very strong and very late. So when all that selling starts late, that's more of a momentum play. You don't want to do it. So they come out, especially after the little bit of green there they put on there, so that's already there. Not to mention the option chain wasn't supporting yesterday's move. Today is a little bit different. The entire pre-market was very, very red all the way down. We opened into the market at pre-market lows. So when you open into the market at pre-market lows and then you put on another red move, it presents a phenomenal opportunity to play a bounce. Because it's usually too much too fast. There's too much that's going on there. People are going to chase the shorts, and then they bounce it back up. So, you know, what was that, 50, 60 points right there on a bounce. And now they're going to, you know, it looks like they're at least going to reattack lows, if not go even lower. Not to mention 1 billion of calls, 1.1 billion in calls never hurts. TLT dividend reinvested today. There you, buddy. That's the way to do it. Keep on grinding. Keep on DCAing TLT, baby. It's going to happen. Interesting. How often do you take a trade that lasts 30 minutes to 1 or 2 hours? 2 or 3 times a week. It's usually my overnight trades. But during the day, I mean, it really depends. It depends on the type of move we get, where I get entry, if I'm comfortable on putting on a position. If I have a fantastic entry, let's say, you know, we play a bounce and I nail the absolute bottom. If it's in certain setup, like an OPEX bounce into like 1 p.m. when we have a red OPEX morning, and then OPEX usually puts on like a 100-point bounce on ES and like a 300-point bounce on NASDAQ. If I nail the bottom, I'll hold that baby. I'll make them take it from me, from my cold dead hands before they take that position. But normal scalps, I don't know, anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes, gish. Close my Express account off that gold count, a gold short. Beautiful. Nice options, noob. Candles are crazy. Well, they're basing right here. We have 1.3 billion in calls, so I mean they're pumping into calls here. It makes me very cautious to look for additional downside at this point. So that's why I'm looking for a bounce at the moment. So, yeah, definitely, Phil. So I saw it showed up yesterday. I'm going to crack into it today and see what I have to do and get that baby set up. I'm pumped. I'm excited. Thank you. I'll shoot you a DM after the stream today to kind of pick your brain. Could the Santa rally become a Krampus dump? I think so. I think so. But who knows? Who knows? $9.8 could be a long up on 5 minute. Yeah, definitely. The 1 minute presented a beautiful opportunity, obviously, but that already broke down. The 5 minute right about, yeah, you're right about where you said, would work well right now. ES 50%, nice. NASDAQ has a little bit more to 020. Here comes the green, 1.3 billion in calls. They're pumping into calls here. Still going. I like it. Ozempic executive collapses during the meeting yesterday in the Oval Office. It's interesting. He had his knees locked, that's what it was. Happens all the time in basic training. Will I have time to make a spot gamma breakdown video this weekend? Maybe not this weekend, but it'll be soon. '21 EMA 645.81. That will get by November OPEX. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty realistic move. Yep. I mean, if you go back and look again, seasonality has been countered every month this year. And then everyone was expecting the seasonality in July, never came. August never came. September never came. And then here we are, November, and now we're in much need of a pullback. Signs are showing of a pullback, and now we're supposed to have the Santa rally. It's supposed to begin. So, what happens with that? At the risk of sounding like Chicken Little, I could see it not happening. I think there's a good chance as any that the Santa rally does not happen this year. And at least not the full-fledged Santa rally, but we'll see. Pull back for 5 days and all-time highs again. Yeah, most likely. $1.3 billion in calls. Still gets you every time. What's the jabroni's name on X? I don't know. Starts with an N. I don't remember. I blocked him. I had a guy, like the past 3 weeks, he kept on creating accounts just to troll me. And he was obviously somebody in the Discord server, so it's one of you all, because he had details that I only discussed in the Discord. And he kept on creating accounts and trolling me. So I just like, all right, man. So I just kept on blocking him. It was Dan. Yeah, probably was. Who has time for that stuff? Exactly. It is a waste of time because people have no life. That's why. They have degenerate, miserable lives. All right, we have this 50 hit right here. That was my first target. I don't see them getting over that. If they do, great. But that's going to be my first target, and that is it. We have liquidity down to 24.9. We have 1.3 billion in puts down, or calls, I'm sorry, now down to 1.2. So there you go. Am I going to do another TPT trading competition? I am. The guy was supposed to claim his prize yesterday, but he never did. So I don't know if he blew up or not on the last day. Hopefully he kept everything tight, but we'll see. Still going. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. Now the wife dropped something. Yeah, we're gonna do the competition. Yeah, I'm gonna create a little more structured to it, and we'll do another one here in about a week. Still going. Took out the 50 and going. 1.33 billion in calls and climbing. No lower lows yet on NASDAQ. So until they give out a lower low, maintain long bias, regardless of what you think. The 3Cs stay long at the moment on NASDAQ. Still going. New high right there. Higher highs mean long bullish trend, baby. You sound a little down today. You're having a rough night. No, I'm doing some fasting at the moment, so I am like dragging some butt right now. I haven't hit the keto mark yet, where you start getting energized. It takes about a day or two. The goblin of red daily engulfings. Yep. Hey, but very observant of you to observe that. Definitely. Another week that was a winner, 7 for 8. I could have stayed in longer, but I hit my profit goal, so I'm going to stick with my rules. Out for the day. Beautiful, Forsna. Good job, buddy. You're very, very welcome. Thanks for being here. Enjoy the day with your wife. See, we do care. You do care. You drink a crap load of coffee. Yeah, see, I'm not a guy that can drink coffee black. I can't do it. It tastes like cigars. So whenever I do drink my coffee, I put in just a small splash of cream and just a very small touch of sweetener, just to take the edge out of it. So I can't drink it black, and you can't have it any other way if you're doing a fast. I've never done it, but I'm pretty fit from a life of working. What does fasting do? Well, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it, obviously. There's anything from the spiritual, religious aspect all the way into the regeneration aspect. So it regenerates your cells, allows your body to shed inflammation, and just kind of do a reset. If you have a craving or a habit you need to break, fasting does wonders. Plus the actual fat burning part of it. It's nice. And considering we have Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, not a bad idea to shed a couple of pounds. Can it break losing? You talking about like losing in trading? All right, large red off that move. So they hit that 50 and then dump Aroni. My target was 0.20. They got it to 0.4 and then dumped. But there you go. It's a joke, but yeah, I mean, it could. It depends on you. I mean, there is a religious application to fasting as well. You fast and then you pray in a meditative state, and it's supposed to help. Yeah, absolutely. But there's a 10 o'clock dump right there. Right here. How much does one need to invest in total to join the competition if we sign up for 50K? Whatever the 50K account is, I think it's not much, right? It's only like $60, something like that. I don't know what the 50K accounts cost. Let's go look. 50K accounts with the OM code. It won't let me apply my own code, so I have to use $100 a month, 102 a month for the 50K account, and that gets you a free funded. So that's the only thing you have to pay. Yeah, you didn't use the OM code, yeah. Got to use the OM code to be in the competition. That's the only way I can track it. Otherwise, you can make up your own data. Let's see, Michigan consumer came in quite low. Let's go to the 1 year. That's some of the lowest sentiment readings we've had in 5 years. June of 2022 was as low, but that's it. Right here. I used the OM code to charge me extra. That's the jabroni fee. That's the jabroni fee. Am I for real? Yeah. So to join the competition, it's got to be using my code so I can be able to track the data. Definitely. That's part of it. 24,950, large red. The new lows here are about 920, 930. And falling. They're selling off some of the calls here. Beautiful, beautiful move. We'll see how things go. Before I start piling into another bias, I'm going to just kind of chill for a little bit, watch this, see how things go. Five days, no food. Interesting. NASDAQ will not stop bleeding until NVIDIA hits 180, at least if that fails, it may flush further. Oh, very cool. I don't know about NVIDIA, but NASDAQ does look like it's on a significant downtrend on the daily, for sure. And we're hitting that point. This is the dangerous part about looking for bounces on the daily, is we're not getting these massive flushes. We're getting these little tiptoe downs every day. And eventually it's going to lead to capitulation where we just blast down and we'll have an October 10th style day after all of the everyday red stuff here, which will put us into, sub 24,000, of course. So, the buyers are on the clock here, and they better get stuff done, otherwise it's going to go. I've been doing well in the 3Cs, but there's certain circumstances like gold right now where I'd get lost on entry point. I have yet to enter because of the wiki action and waited for close of 4,000. I see a blasted 4 points, so I still haven't entered. Let's take a look. Of course, you remember, first thing I'm going to probably mention is multiple time frame analysis. But we had a couple of beautiful 3Cs. We had right here, this one at 952, bottom wick, cleared the highs, and there would have been your entry. Again here at 937, clear the highs, there would have been your entry as well. And then now they're putting in a high 3C short opportunity, which I don't know if it's going to confirm, but there's a high volume spike right here at 4005. So, but also gold put on a beautiful little location area from this pivot at the end of the morning. And I'm out. What's up? What'd you do, noob dude? My wife wouldn't let me. She already made me breakfast, have lunch ready for €50 close. There you go. 66.94 and dropping. Did I already buy and sell? I did, yeah. Still going. ES is about to take low of the day. NASDAQ is already low of the day. We're going to remove the 50 because that's already come to fruition and rejected. They're starting to buy puts again, 1.4 billion in puts. So the momentum is back to the downside, baby. No longer looking for buy the dips. I got my one buy the dip, and that was it. $8.94 and falling. Beautiful. Still going. Where do you start plotting the 50? I plot it for the session, and then I plot it for the overnight move, and I track those. Next target here is going to be the 807 from Thursday or from Wednesday, October 22nd. Falling back over. You bought queso. I love it. Do I use spot gamma as key levels? I mentioned them, yeah, but my main tools that I use from them is Trace, Hero, and their founders notes. What video do you explain the 3 C's of trading? I'll get it for you. One second, I'll post it in the chat. There you go. When I joined your Discord, 2 people added me right away that looked like I pretend to be you. Yeah, we have scammers come in like that. I delete them as fast as I can, but yeah. What should one learn before buying zeros or 0.3 TDEs? In my opinion, I would not touch a 0 DTE option at all unless you have a very consistent system. I wouldn't even do it. 0 DTEs will honeypot you into thinking that you're a good trader, and then it'll take everything you own. So I'd recommend going towards, at least if you're going to do options, weekly options. However, if you're still learning a system, I would go to just stocks. Trade the commons. NASDAQ is 922. What's the VIX doing here? VIX is 2127. ES is 6692. Sell them, don't buy them. Yeah. If he has an account big enough, that's definitely an option. Nice little bottom wick with volume, 3C bounce. I'm not chasing the upside on this one. What do you think about buying a 10-year-old Tesla Model S? Well, although I'm a fan of Teslas, I mean my brother-in-law's got a Tesla and it's like the funnest car I've ever ridden in. I don't think the infrastructure is there yet for me to want to bite off on them. Some people might disagree with me, but if I'm going to spend that much money on a Tesla, I want to make sure that I can go anywhere I want, and there's going to be a supercharger there. Like I don't want to have to drive 50 miles just to get to a supercharger. Of course, yeah, you can have one in your house, but I'm talking about traveling, which is getting better, yes. But that's my holdback on them. The infrastructure is not there. Not to mention what happens when crap goes down, you know? Now, for the other side of the coin is I don't know what your personal finances are, but yeah. for 12K. Nice. Big old bounce on ES and NASDAQ. It's a high volume 3C right there, if I've ever seen one. Even bigger than the first. I was a technician at Tesla. I don't recommend it. There you go. Someone from the inside. Set aside some big bucks for new batteries. Daily Gold Met closing the brokerage, going back to bed after a sleepless night. Good news on the wife's health. Cardiologist found okay to give her hip surgery. Nice. Good to hear, Damien. Keep us in posted. I have a 25 Model 3 and it's awesome. I live on the West Coast though, so plenty of chargers. Yeah. So here, the first supercharger closest to us is literally 50 miles away. So it's. Although I did wire a 240 watt plug into our garage, so I could have one here, but. I want to build an old 60 models vehicle that's that's completely mechanical, so when China drops an EMP on us, I can still drive it. Pre-79, there you go. Did you do that for the brother-in-law's Tesla? What do you mean? We got a couple of superchargers in our little town. Good for tourists, yeah. That's right, Trippy Mike. I hear Ford's giving the F-150 Lightning the axe. Interesting. So NASDAQ is quickly breaching back up into the 020. That's why I said I wasn't going to jump quickly back into another bias, because I wasn't sure what they were going to do here. And of course, they bounce it right on back up. Haven't taken a secondary trade yet. I am kind of dragging a little bit, as y'all pointed out, which is true. There's a 40% chance that the FAA will close all of U.S. airspace until the government opens back up, which would be devastating to the economy, of course. FAA is now cutting 700 flights per day across 40 different airports, all the 40 major airports. I would force it open real quick. Yeah. What about a tertiary? Just want to say that word. Nice. Ego got me on Wednesday, started up pre-market, and then revenge traded. Wiped out a day's worth of profit, still in a green for the week. We were so close to passing if I could control Wednesday. That's okay. You learn from it. You have red days, and you got back on it. It's amazing stuff. Well done. I'm a beginner trader, and I would like to start trading stocks and long options 6 months out. Where should I start? Well, obviously I'm biased, but my YouTube channel is a great place to start. I'd encourage you to read the book Complete Guide to Volume Price Analysis, written by Anna Coling. That's going to get you a great step up on reading volume and price action. Also, you need to read a book called oh man, hope I'm not getting one of those ocular migraines. That would suck. Trading in the Zone is what you want to, is the next book. Sorry, I had a brain fart. The next book you want to read is called Trading in the Zone, which is a very popular mindset-based book. Those are the two main books I recommend for beginner traders. Then read it again. Yeah, that's right. Since I started reading Anna's book, I started loving congestion channels. It's like charging a spring. Yep. She loves congestion because of that exact reason. Has anyone ever broken a foot and attempted barbell rows? I know deadlifts is out of the question, but some 275 barbell rows may be comfortable if I keep my foot evenly planted. Should I skip them and stick to pull-ups? It depends. I mean, I would probably give it enough time to heal. You don't want to cause permanent damage or prolong the injury. Is there a PDF version of the book? I don't know. There is a free audio file on Spotify, but I don't know about PDF. What's your opinion on ICT, if you care to give it? Yeah, it's a repackaged thing. I don't like how he is presented like he's created something new, but because he hasn't. All he's done is repackaged basic liquidity zones and put fancy terminology on it and overcomplicated the crap out of things. So I'm not going to say it doesn't work, because it may work. I don't know. I've never really looked into it. I'm just saying he repackaged a lot of concepts, but mainly I don't like his ego. I don't like how he presents himself as the god of trading, and he's the best, and it's just there's no room for ego in trading. And yeah. Do I offer any training from the scratch for a fee? I do have a Discord server. I have a $25 a month Discord server that you can sign up for, and then, it gets you access to multiple streams, concepts, analysis, all that kind of stuff. Not to mention a really good, the main thing is the community itself that you could be around. Like-minded individuals you could bounce ideas off of that doesn't have the typical, cheerleading, profit posting, P&L blasting nonsense. I pride myself on it. It's good stuff. I'm happy with it. What indicator do I use on TradingView for the morning high and low? I'll show you, this indicator. And I mute out all of the other levels except the morning high and the morning low. I feel like the market's been open for like 3 hours and it's only been 50 minutes. They're going to end the shutdown and kick the can to January. And witty banter, yeah. I missed the Rasky Red conversation. Is this a play or an indicator? The Rasky Red is a concept. So, Linda Raschke has 12 rules that she kind of applies to the general market in terms of thinking. And one of which is whoever controls the book in power hour with the momentum and the strength will control into the morning session, the momentum to the morning session. So I kind of just came up with a funny saying, the Rasky Red or the Nasty Raschke. But all it is looking at the power hour from the prior session. So if you look, the sellers controlled the power hour big time yesterday, and it led to an aggressive red today. The session before, big red control and power hour, it led to a massive dump into the open. The session before, sellers controlled the book all the way down, and then we had this little red dump here into the open. So whoever controls the book in Power Hour will control the book. On the day before that, we had the big green pop, which led to this big green pop here into the open. Over and over again. Big red, big red. It's just it's whoever the first hour of the day is dealing with the positioning from overnight and the prior session. The last hour of the day is setting up for the overnight session and the next morning. So that's why that's kind of where it comes from. I had to reset my TPD accounts a few times over the last month, all the usual stuff. But I have my current accounts for almost 2 weeks, and I wasn't able to trade that one day this week, and I'm profitable, doing really well. I'm staying small size and patiently waiting. Beautiful. So thankful I found the OM community. Nice, Matt. I love it, buddy. Keep up the great work, man. Do I primarily look at Rasky Power Hour rule as a primary setup for from rules? Do you consider her? I do, yeah. Is that for beginners who do not trade? Yep. It is for beginners as well, yeah. Looks like we may be in a zone. But dumb. Oh man, my fasting is more than losing weight. It's one of the best ways to treat and avoid cancer. For example, getting to a state of autophagy. Yeah. Yeah, we're already. Let's see. We are. My last meal was Wednesday night, so we're going on a day and a half already of no calories. So it kicks in here soon. Fasting, yeah, yeah. Haven't eaten 2 days. Nope. My last meal was about 6 p.m. on Wednesday. I thought it was a sunrise to sunset thing. You could do that too. Yeah. Where's a good spot to learn more about the Rasky's rules? There is, I'll have to get it. There's a list of 12 rules we had posted in here. We could post them and discuss them too. I think that'd be a good discussion point. I don't hate myself enough not to fast. Yeah. Yeah, once you get through the first day or two, it becomes easy. The first day is the hardest. Yesterday was the hardest. Especially if there's a big old pan of brownies that someone brought over this weekend sitting on the counter. That were about, I was planning on finishing up. I was like, but yeah. What do I think about dollar cost averaging in a Bitcoin like every week? Well, I'm not a crypto guy. I do believe in dollar cost averaging. I've been doing that my whole career, but I'm not a crypto guy. Oh, thanks. There you go. Matt just posted it. Thank you. Staring at it every time you walk by. Cookie, 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 cookie. What about ice cream? Ice cream is my favorite. Yep. If I was on a deserted island that happened to have access to power with a freezer, I would bring ice cream. Would I ever have a trading mukbang? I have no idea what that is. Is that like a porn thing? Some call it fasting, resters call it making weight. There you go. Where could I learn more about that silly power hour concept? Or no, about that pillar. I don't know where I got silly. Probably your name. More about that power hour concept. That is something we talk about every day. So, here, ask questions. That could be a good YouTube video too. So when do I get to eat again? I was going for 3 days, just a quick 3-day fast. But who knows? I might break it tomorrow. We'll see. I might just do 2 days. I discovered something at Andy's, pumpkin concrete with cheesecake bites. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Say that more. Say more stuff like that to me. On the hourly is right now a good location for a gold bounce after gold took the overnight low. Let's take a look. So first I want to take a look at the higher time frame here. So we kind of toyed with this little mini pivot here, but the overall liquidity would be 49.82. We have a beautiful bottom wick with volume on the that's the 55 minute. There we go. On the 5 minute, we had a couple of decent 3Cs here. The open here, this next one. I don't know. There's not much here that I would want to trade at the moment. I don't like this back and forth smack dab in the middle of the price range. I don't like trading because it gives a lot of false breakouts and breakdowns. I'd rather sweep one side or the other. There's already some great opportunities on gold. I wouldn't push it. My favorite at Andy's is the apple pie. Yeah, it's almost out. I saw the email a couple days ago. Am I fasting for how long? I'm going for 3 days. 3-day fast. But we'll see. Do I work out while I fast? I do. 3 days sounds like a torture. Well, I mean, honestly, part of it is that. You know, that's part of the benefits of fasting. You have the physical stuff we've talked about, but doing stuff that sucks builds character. Discipline. Comfort is where the human spirit goes to die. If you sit in comfort all day, every day, you know, that could be physical comfort or emotional comfort. That's where you die, man. You gotta do stuff. You gotta do stuff that sucks. Stay hard. Does that include blowing up ports? No, that's just silly. Well, every time I try to fast, my legs get super restless when I try to sleep. Your body's going into overdrive, man. That's wild. I didn't mind a fast, but to work out is next level. Well, I'm not doing full like 400-pound squats, but I love to do a lot of jump ropes. It keeps you agile. Sit-ups, you know, body weight, calisthenics, stuff like that, just to keep things going. Stages of fasting. Let's see. 12 hours, change of metabolic pathways from glucose burning to fat burning. Higher Q10 levels, seeing the body ramp up stress, busting pathways to reduce inflammation. Autophagy starts, cells start recycling protein waste and start to cell. Nice. I'm coming up on the 48-hour mark. Growth hormone reach highest level. Interesting. There you go. Go hunting. Activate the primate brain. Heck yeah, I might do that. With a spear? Is it spear season for deer here? There are stories of POWs that died after getting food, after being rescued because they stuffed themselves. Oh, I bet. Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm curious about your take on divergence on smaller time frames. There's a little divergence with the Russell and Dow compared to the NASDAQ and ES on the 1 minute. Could that be a sign of recovery? Possibly. So, I like to drive positions. I drive my entries based on confidence on many different metrics. The first of which obviously is the 3 C's, the VPA. But there is a variable of my system that is driven through market awareness, which the divergences fall within the category of market awareness. So if I see the market diverging on stuff that shouldn't be diverging, like ES and NASDAQ should for the most part be correlated to some degree, if I see the Russell and Dow are just rocket ships, while the NASDAQ is kind of faulty, then I would look for one of those to catch up. There's the rising tide. So, for example, if I'm looking for a blast off green session where everything is just blasting, then I would want to see the RTY correlated with the NASDAQ and ES and everything is flying. If I see a little one up and down, then it might be a little bit of a stress signal, and the RTY has been signaling stress since 2020. RTY has been the underperformer of the small caps now for a very long time, and if you start to see like the RTY catching a bid while the big indexes are starting to sell off, that could be a sign of stress. So there's a couple of different ways to go about looking at it, all of which is, again, I don't trade RTY, but I do monitor it aside from the NASDAQ. The 24, 36 hour mark is the hunger tends to go away, but if you're already someone who eats a low carb keto diet, experience blood sugar rise. I do eat a lot of carbs though. I have a very carb heavy diet. Low fat, high carb, a lot of rice. I eat so much rice. I was going to make an Asian joke, but I can't think of one. I eat a lot of rice. A lot of white rice. How does selling covered calls work? Selling covered calls is for the individuals who have the shares to cover them. So what happens when you sell a call? Let's say you've got enough money in your account to sell a call without, and you don't actually have the shares. So you've got a naked call out there. You just sell a call. That's it. Period. It's a naked position. It's not covered by anything. You don't have any long calls to protect it. It's just a bear's position out there in the ether with theoretical unlimited losses. So if you have the shares to cover them, then you can assign those shares away at some point, depending on where it closes or not depending on where it closes. But in summary, the covered call position just means you have the 100 shares in your stock in your portfolio to cover the call. It's not a naked position. I don't have a strong feeling on what price is going to do here. Yeah, that's why I'm just kind of chilling right now, talking about some fasting. Another sell back off here, 930. I love Jasmine. I do too. Yeah. You chop wood every day. Do you live in Antarctica? Pretty much. He lives like 100 miles from the North Pole. There are no essential carbs, but there are essential fatty acids. Eat more good animal fat. I love animal fat. Yeah. I know carbs are bad, but high fiber has fixed my. I don't think carbs are bad. I'm not one of those dudes that thinks carbs are terrible. I'm very much. I've had a lot of great success on a high carb, high protein diet. You just have to keep your fats down. If you're when you eat your fats, it has to be animal fats. It can't be, dairy fats and all the cheese fats and stuff. So. Yeah, it can't be a bag. It can't be a bag of chips like Doritos. I'm getting my carbs in, Dad. Cheese. You got cheese dust all over your face. No. A little bit more red coming off here. We're looking like for another low of the day touch. I do love chopping wood. I gotta say, out of all the tasks I have here on the farm, chopping wood's my favorite. In fact, it's therapeutic. If you're ever in a depressive state, one, work out, but number two, go get yourself an axe, chop some wood. Even if you don't have a stove, just chop wood. It's great. It'll heal you, man. It's great. Go chop down a tree. In fact, every time you have a red day, go chop down a tree. There won't be any trees left. All right, here's Hero. Right there for those who want it. For a chick, I like chopping wood too. There you go. I don't know if that's a euphemism or not, but yeah, chopping wood's fantastic. I've been scalping some ES contracts, made about $120. There you go. That's a good day. I'd end it. Kindling. That's right. No trees left by the end of the month. Y'all are crazy. You can cover a naked call position if you buy a different strike call. That's correct. Like what Chris just said right there, yeah. Which is either, you could do a debit spread, credit spread, you could do calendar spreads, or you could stick to the put side of legs, whereas they put, or the cash secured puts, which kind of like what Agnostic was talking about, is that you have no downside protection. But if you do covered puts, cash secured puts, that if the position goes against you, you can just own the share. That's the benefit of it. It's not a naked position if it's covered with a long call, correct? It's not covered with shares, but it is still covered in terms of risk by having a long call exposure, long delta exposure. How do you feel about selling covered calls in the long term? I personally don't like to do long-term covered positions like that. Personally. It's not my thing. Still coming off here. We're about to take out new low of the day for NASDAQ. We have 1.6 billion in puts. We have 1.6 billion in calls. And we're about to smoke it. 21.1 on the VIX. They are not running the VIX back over. 21.1 gigawatts. Don't have much wood in Tejas. Yeah. That was one of the, when I spent all that time in San Antonio at Randolph, man, I missed trees. Like all y'all had was those short little, I guess, those mini oaks. I miss my tall, towering pine trees and maple trees. Shrub oaks, yeah. Mesquite. Theoretically, what would happen if someone lost more money than what they had? Bankruptcy protection? Nope. You would get margin called. You know, if you've got a quality broker, they won't even let you do it. They'll force close the position before it gets to that point. If you've got a crappy broker like Robinhood, they may not force close, and they'll put you in a credit position or a debit position, which is no bueno. No bueno. What state am I in? I'm in Alaska. I got the window open. It's great stuff. Love the sounds of nature. I've been planting trees. I don't have a football field of grass. Yeah. I just think about that movie Trading Places where they lost everything. I got elk in the background. Yeah, I had the window open. Sorry. I'd listen to animals frolic by. Some serious nature. It is. All right, we just put a new low of the day on NASDAQ here. Again, we're coming up on not only the trend line that y'all see here, which I don't trade trend lines, but we do have this liquidity from October 22nd. Right here. Which is another 80 points down. Looks like it's going to tap it. A little tap tap-a-roo. Give us a pic of your surrounding country. I will. I will. Robinhood force closes the positions and make you regret your life decision. Yeah. Yeah. Trust me, I've gotten those calls before for a margin call. It's not fun. And they will not stop calling you if you ignore them. They will not stop calling you. Long time ago. Yeah. What is this? There is a lot of long-term put positions being added to the tape. Millions and millions of worth. About $10 million worth of November and December puts hit in the last hour. A little P51, nice. Yeah, it's awesome. Am I doing a TPT competition again? Yes, I am. Oh, well, you're talking about a giveaway? Well, the 25,000 was for yesterday, but I'll do another one. I'll do another one. How about this? Well, let's do two. I'll do two. We'll do two giveaways. I'm in a good mood, even though I'm kind of unenergized at the moment. What happens if you're in a call and profitable at the end of day in it, but it can't get closed and the trading ends? What happens? You lose your entire account if you do that, and you have to send them pictures of your children and what school they attend. No, I'm just kidding. The position settles at whatever price it is. It settles it. What's your broker? Robinhood will sell off the position. Yeah, and that's why you can't use brokers like that. Any brokers are forced to close my position like that, especially if it's profitable. I mean, then we're not going to be friends. I totally bought a new TPT combine with your code the last 2 days. Did I need to post that somewhere? Well, I haven't started the new challenge yet, but when I start it, I'll send out the details. Are there any specific computer requirements on TPT? No. It's pretty lower stuff, or low usage stuff. But to settle it, if I don't have the cash to buy the shares, no. I mean, it settled. It closes the position. It's settled the cash settlement. I guess it depends on what option you have, but yeah. Can you do TPT in Europe? I think so. I think so because it does allow you the opportunity to use wire for international people when you get paid out. All right, let's do this again. There you go. Wait, hold on a second. I need to do something. There we go. All right, bottom wick right here. Right here. So this is defending the lows from a couple of weeks ago and this trend line. So we got the trend line we just almost touched, which again I don't trust. I don't trade them, but they are a point of curiosity for me. And mainly the liquidity from back on August 17th, and then right here, 22nd. Giving away 2 TPT 50K accounts in the Discord server today. Make sure you get your name in there so you can get drawn. Oh yeah, I still got to give platinums. I got you. I got you. I got you set up. I currently don't own a gun because I'm a dirty, long-haired liberal, but I want one. What'd you recommend? What do you want a gun for? Like, what's going to be your application? Home defense, shotgun. If you don't have any weapons training, get you a 12 gauge. Yep. Remington 870 is going to be a fantastic bet. Mossberg 500, also a fantastic bet. The Remington is going to be probably a touch more pricey, but they're both 2 very solid, very reliable options for home defense. You don't want to have to worry about accuracy when someone's coming into your house. You just want to put a hole through them and also not put a hole through 5 other walls. So just do a good little 12 gauge, get you some home defense shells, and you're good to go. Yeah, don't do that. Tokarev bullpup? Yeah, no. The thing about home defense in training for that type of thing is that the average American male thinks that they're Rambo. They think that no matter what, they're going to be able to protect their family and shoot an intruder in the face and do all this hardcore manly stuff. But when it actually comes down to it, they're going to be shaking like a leaf in the wind. Their heart's going to be beating out of their chest, their adrenaline's going to be pumping, they're not going to be able to focus if you're not trained. So train with your weapon. Don't think that you can just rely on manlyhood to allow you to function in a home defense situation. Unless you train. Yeah, exactly. Unless you train. When it comes to killing another human being, man, it's not natural for you, so you're going to be shaken. You're going to be shaken. Don't clear the house, defend your family, and make sure the kids don't run out. Yeah, that's a defensive mechanism. You know, defending your home is a defensive maneuver. So you don't go on the offense until you have everything secured and in place. SPS 12, do it. Do it. I bought a Mossberg Shockwave 20 gauge so my wife can handle it. 12 gauge is too much for her. I don't think it'll do enough damage. Yeah, it definitely. Yeah, 20 gauge will do plenty of damage. I'm not a liberal. I'm a great straight of Texas. My first gun, and need my first. Dude, you live in Texas and you don't have your first gun yet? I thought they give you one like when you're born in Texas. Fourth birthday? Oh, okay. Your quinceañera? They give it to you on your quinceañera? Oh my gosh. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. I HUD'd with my Youth 870 Express well into adulthood. Nice. There you go. In Germany, we get a tax number at birth. You guys are lucky. That's awful. 24,840 dropping back over. Looking for this red line you've got right here is these October 22nd lows. We take that out, we're going to go even further. I live in Oklahoma, and it's almost impossible to find someone who doesn't own 5 guns. Yep. Every single person I know owns at least 2 ARs. Every person. The entire south of Alaska is armed with ARs. It's great stuff. Patiently waiting for the 3 Cs at that weekly low 800 level. Nice. There you go. What in the world is Apple doing that it's green in both red days? Apple has been the contrarian now for a long time. So Apple's been going red while everyone else, or Apple's been going green while everyone else is red, and then the other way around. All right. Still got 30 more minutes of the stream. Man, time's going by super slow. Super slow. How did you wind up liberal? I wonder if no kung fu for you has any guns. Or if he just kung fu people in the face. It's no kung fu? Yeah. I took my LTC in Texas. Lieutenant Colonel, what's up? I had a 241 for accuracy. I had a 250 shot 500 rounds. My SIG. Oh, a little macro. No, it's an XL. Before I didn't bring my gun like a noob and end up using the officer's Glock 17. Had far better accuracy than any practice round. Nice. Those Glocks are accurate, man. All right, we are still downtrending. 66.80 on ES. NASDAQ is getting pummeled. New low of the day. Another 30 points, and we'll hit multi-week lows here again. 1.8 billion in puts, 1.8 billion in calls. So they're equivalent on calls and puts here. Three C down moves are much harder to find. Well, the down plays are usually more difficult than the long plays anyway. Here we go. 836 still falling. Quick question: when you follow the afternoon sell buy or ASCII rule, do you use a specific candle like a 5 or 15 minute? Just the price action. It's just who's controlling. I try to use common sense. Who's controlling the power hour? So if you get 59 minutes of aggressive high volume selling and then the last minute of the day is a little bit of green, like who's controlling the close? I still think it's the sellers. So it's just whoever's controlling the whole theme. If it's back and forth, then you don't really have a good way. You don't really have a good answer. So it's all right. Well, just we won't rely on it then. Before open carry, I had a couple of lawyer patients tell me to never register my LLC because the jury would judge you more harshly if you ever had to shoot someone. Being trained, I mean, you should have known better. It's apparently better to do stupid and shoot. Yep. Sorry if you answered it already, but was the 905 a failed 3C on the 5 minute? It wasn't a failed 3C. I mean, it was a beautiful long position. You could have made, 60, 70, 80 points. It just didn't trend up. But it did break back down, yeah. I used to work in Frankfurt many years ago. Scheichenhausen. Interesting. There are always very aggressive city names in Germany. A lot of constants. How and where was the entry? On the 5 minute for NASDAQ right here, it would have been right at 972 on the 5 minute chart. How do you think the end of the year will play out? I don't know. I think there's going to be a battle. I think there's going to be a lot of red, a lot of green, and I don't know. I do think that they're not going to reward this market with a Santa rally. I think everyone's planning on a Santa rally, and I think they're going to counter that simply because everyone wants a Santa rally. But who knows? That's just conjecture. I have no idea. You should, if you should ever have to pull out your gun, your life will be changed forever. Yep. Yep. I know someone who used their weapon in self-defense before. It took him years to get out from under that, and he was right. He was in the right. He was justified. It took him years to get away from that. Oh man, we have carry insurance. Yeah. It's a lot cleaner if someone's in your home though, especially in this state. If someone walks in your home, there's very little defense for the other person. But out and about in the streets, there's a lot more to it. The court system is a giant money-making machine. Yep, 100% right. It's why I have on my hill of my home. I can see the entire horizon. I can see 50 miles on the horizon, and one of the biggest buildings on the horizon is the courthouse. That's because it's a money-making machine. That's all it is. It's nonsense, just like everything else in this country. Not even joking. People come over to the house. They're like, "Hey, what's that big building way out on the horizon?" Oh, that's the courthouse. That towers over everything. I've had many beers and tides of Scheichenhausen. Wonderful bar, I bet. I have buddies who are cops in Chicago. It's a nightmare every time they have to shoot someone. The city is a slush fund and criminals know it. Sue the city, get $200K, survive a cop shooting, a badge of honor. I bet. I'm struggling a lot of my entries. I'm trying to work down how to actually use the limit orders. All right, what's up? You didn't have to use the 910 candle to close. No, I mean you don't have to. Again, we've talked about this at length. Is at the third C, you don't have to wait for the close. That waiting for the third close is the ultimate patience confidence indicator. So if you're completely unknown and you don't have full faith, then yeah, wait for the close. Wait for the full right side of the V, but it doesn't have to be. Again, that third C is a nuance. It's an art form, whereas the first two C's are technical. It's very easy to pin and identify a volume spike with a wick, especially if you're at a very high volume entry. The third C is, all right, well, I'm starting to see the price action clear. I need to make a decision. And especially on the time frame, if you wait for a high close in the 15-minute candle, you may miss out on 150 points on NASDAQ. If you're waiting on the 1 minute, you're going to miss out on 10, 20 points, and so it really depends. Wherever you've entered, on this one, I mean, I don't know. I didn't take an entry on that particular play, but about 972, 974 is where I'd be looking at getting, especially that kind of volume. Still top wicking. Liquidity on Bookmap is 750. Where will 750 put us? Let's look. That'll put us right inside all of that big back and forth stuff from early October. So nothing time required, just when it passes the price. Well, there's a lot more to it than that, math. So again, it's about whatever the market. Certain conditions will merit more aggressive price action than other conditions. So that's why the three C's are a fantastic way to identify entries, but you still have to put in the work. You still have to have experience. Someone off the streets is not going to just come start slinging hundreds of thousands of dollars because they learned the three C's. There's a nuance to it. There's experience in there. Where what's the general market doing? What are the options doing? What's the overall sentiment of the market? Are we downtrending? Are we uptrending? Is the market supportive of bottom wicks or top wicks? So there really is a nuance on how aggressive I'm going to play. Yesterday, I was not looking for buy the dip. Today, I was. There's a difference because the market set up differently. So I played more aggressively on the buy the dip today than I did yesterday. Nice, Damien. Wasn't easy. U.S. Army is set to buy 1 million drones next year. Interesting. Somebody just bet $5,000 that their Fed will raise interest rates in December. That's 100% clickbait. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, it's 100% clickbait. Why would someone post a picture of that? Would you consider giving SR levels to NASDAQ for tier 2? I would even pay extra. No, I wouldn't. I don't want you to pay extra. Yeah, I could do that. Definitely. I have to find a way to narrow my shot group on entries. Well, here's the thing, math. Remember, the 3 C's or any other trading system is not about never seeing red. So it's about catching the right side of the V, even if you have a couple of candles that go against you. So if you take a long entry on NASDAQ, you immediately see a red candle, let's say 10 or 15 points. You can't let that one candle necessarily get you out, because what if you just happen to catch one little sell order hitting the tape as you enter, but eventually it's going to keep on going back up. The whole theme is to identify where the market is reversing the trend. And that's why you have to position yourself small enough where you can weather the storm on just a temporary little red candle. Now I'm not that's different from if you long a falling knife because you're trying to play the dip and there's no indication of long, and you take a long and the market drops 50 points on you. Yeah, that's a terrible entry. You need to get out of that position as soon as possible. But if you're catching the right side of the V, but you just so happen to catch a top wick as you're getting confirmation, that's perfectly fine. That's the whole theme, is that if you're trying to long the market, the 3Cs will help you not catch a falling knife, and you're going to catch the right side of the V. And all you have to do is just be patient and just go and let the market climb on you. But in order to do that, you've got to stop thinking like a scalper, and you've got to bring in small position sizing, or proper position sizing is a better term. Proper position sizing that's commensurate with your level of capital. So if you're going to take scalps, I don't want you to attempt to scalp. I want you to put on a trade, and if it breaks down into just a quick scalp, then so be it. But don't try to put on a position so you can get out in 5-10 seconds. Put on a position that you intend to hold as long as you possibly can. And then if it breaks down, so be it. So you don't have to be so incredibly accurate. Like if you're talking about, 972 as opposed to 970, you don't need that kind of accuracy with NASDAQ. You just need to get on the right side of the V and hold it until you see a counter 3C signal. I used to get market in, but I worked with the market. Yeah, so if you market in, especially now, this morning we had 30 to 50 point 1 minute candles on NASDAQ. If you market in, you're going to be down at least 15, 20 points instantly. So it's just you can't market in. You just can't. Thank you. My levels are not nearly as magical as yours. Well, I appreciate that. I'm always happy to help. Where can I learn about the 3Cs? Well, the Discord you could learn on. I do have a video about the 3Cs that you can watch. And then, of course, if you'd like more of that, you can join the Discord. $25 for the Discord server. I don't ask very much, just enough to pay for my time. You can come hang out with us, chill, learn. We do streaming every day and learn the 3Cs. We just took out October 22nd lows, so we are still on a very strong downtrend. There's no support to be had. If you're looking at the hero indicator, we have 2.3 billion in puts, and they're selling off all the calls. Still dropping. Still dropping. 790 and falling. Do you DCA in and take profits at all? I do not DCA in. 99% of the time, I don't dollar cost average in, unless I have unless I am planning to dollar cost average in advance. I don't dollar cost average in. If I'm in a position that's in a consolidation zone and I say, all right, I plan on putting 3 contracts on this trade, but I'm going to leg in one at a time, that I'll do it because that's planned and that's intended. As long as it maintains the thesis, as long as it maintains the range. Like if I'm looking for a sell-off, but we're just in a consolidation at the highs, I'll wait for that consolidation to break down and leg in. But if I'm in a losing trade, and I say, all right, screw it, I need to lower my cost average, then absolutely not. All right, coming on down, 750. Super heavy. Look at this price action. They're clobbering this, man. We're now going on since Thursday, October 30th, we've been just getting clobbered. Here it is, 750. Any possibility of a major reverse gamma squeeze? I mean, sure, there's a possibility. There are no signs of that happening yet. I'll say that. Do I take partial profits as trends in your favor? I do that sometimes, yeah. Take a couple of contracts off and just leave on one. Especially if I'm like getting away from the computer and I don't want to think about it, yeah. VIX new high of the day is going. Yeah, look at that. 2207. NASDAQ is still plummeting. 750 is the last remaining liquidity, and it's big. I'd probably say they're going for the 750. Getting crushed. All the way down, baby. Why do you think Apple's holding up so well? Rotation. Apple's been used as rotation now for many months. When the market is bleeding, they'll rotate some into Apple to hold. Volume coming in on this candle. Right in 750. Yeah, gold is very clean with 3C entries. Why don't I do credit spreads anymore? Is because they can be kind of hard to manage. I got tired of it. I was making good money there for a while doing it, but the short dated stuff like that, it was too hard to manage. I was losing opportunities because I was focusing so much on managing those trades. And when the market when the market flatlined, it was great. It was easy money. But when it trended, it required a very high degree of attention. So I just stopped doing it. It was causing me more stress than what it was worth. Still downtrending here. I'm looking for 950 until we get a 3C. One thing I struggle with when I take a 3C entry, it'll go 40 points in my favor. I'll move to break even but not take any profit. It'll turn and hit my break even. Is that something that happens to you? I mean, it does happen to me sometimes, especially when I get overly confident and I want to set a very high target profit. But I at least want to pay for my risk. I don't mind you doing stuff like that because there are times where you have confidence and you want to let that thing go, but you want to lock in some profit. So if you want to do that, I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, there's a lot of high-level traders that do exactly that, and they'll just deal with the break-even stops until one day they catch a 500-pointer, and that's fine. Just don't do it too quickly, of course, so you don't stop out before the move is made. But put it 5-10 points into profit. Give yourself an opportunity. What are your thoughts on a government market open rebound when the Fed shows you're allowed to spend again? I do think the market will rebound when they open it, but then I think it'll roll back over. Can I take a look at ES? I can. ES is falling 66.70 and dropping. There's no high volume at all on ES. We're coming into a lot of major liquidity zones. 6,600, I mean, that's still 70 points down, but 6,600 is the main liquidity zones on down. We have a couple of minor pivots at 6,650, but that's it. I mean, that's it. The NASDAQ and ES have both broken through all major support here, and there's not much left. Yeah, definitely. ES is bouncing with no volume. NASDAQ put on a 3C high volume, and now it's kind of coming back up here into the support. We have the trend line and the 750 touch. Do I have any thoughts on using the day or weekly volume POC? I do. I mean, I use the volume profile every week. So I set up all of my levels and thoughts for the week with the weekly and daily POCs in volume profile. I think, in my opinion, that is the number one indicator and the pretty much the only indicator to trust on your charts is the volume profile. Gold is rolling back over, no volume. There's a tremendous amount of call buying today too, which is it was interesting, but there's way more put buying. I don't know what y'all think into the afternoon. What do I think about the gold daily chart? It's been very tight. I looked at it this morning. It's been very tight now for a long time. Hasn't really made a move. So it's been tight now since it entered the range on October 24th. This red block here has been on there for a while. That's the indication for you to go long. If you want to go long on gold, it's got to take out this block. Long-term gold is what I mean. Long-term long. I'm happy person not trading Friday. They always punish me. Yeah, I always tend to be more careful on Friday. Thanks for the stream. Nice liner. Have a good weekend, buddy. Can you check the weekly chart on Palantir? Yeah. Palantir. Massive red candle on Palantir. Interesting. That looks like a shakeout candle. I mean, Palantir hasn't had a single sell instance that followed through now in years, so who knows, man. They've had a crazy year when the actual top is going to come. That certainly looks like a top, engulfing red with incredibly high volume. But again, who knows? You don't know when the actual follow through is going to happen. But if it closes under the prior support of 16939, then yeah, I would look for a touch of 140, 141. Sure does look like it. There's a weekly chart on NASDAQ, by the way. It's fantastic. Very welcome. Another 5 minutes, we'll call it a day. What you got? What you think? Gold's printing. Yeah, it is. Look at that. Wowza. Calling it a day. Have a nice weekend. Didn't trade today. I just listened to the commentary. Nice, Swatchy. Volume came in late on SPY. Was this a good 3C? It wasn't a clean one because the volume came in late. It came in on the top wicks, not on the bottom wicks, so it doesn't show follow through. Not to mention, what else do we have here? We have the morning low. So it's very difficult to look for a breakout when you see volume come in on the top wicks right at the morning low. So there you go. I'm out red Friday. It's not looking like a red Sunday. Yep. Bank of America has officially recovered from the crash of 2008 as of today. Could you imagine if that was the high again? The market would be trolling Bank of America. Is that true? Somebody just tweeted that. No, that's not true. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Hilarious. Just time to fall off another cliff. Yeah. Predictions for the rest of the day. I don't know. This is a lot of selling. It is very common for them. Well, here's the thing. When you're dealing with this style of price action that hasn't yet bounced yet, we've had one good bounce right in the first 30 minutes, and then we've been rolling ever since. This is one of those days that's set up for a strong downtrend day. It's possible. But who knows, man? Just play the 3Cs. I don't know. The market right now doesn't show any signs of bouncing. We have liquidity coming on lower, but you never know with this stuff. So in my opinion here, with no liquidity lower, there's nothing to bounce off of and put on a meaningful bounce. Lump sum in BOA in 2008 would have been beat you, but dollar cost over the years would still give you a few 100%. Yeah. I still think we are going to put in a touch lower. Had a small short position 2 weeks ago. Now it's green again. Nice. I hate the slow grind action, no clear entry. Yeah. Well, it's a steady downtrend. Right now we just saw a 3C short off the morning low. So that tells you that the buyers aren't here yet. So don't go looking for a huge buy the dip until you have a glaring sign. I'd rather you be late to the buy the dip than early. So yeah. I'm going to call it a day, y'all. Any final questions, comments, concerns? Go sign up for the two $50,000 account giveaways on TPT. That'll be great. Y'all have a fantastic day. I will see you all bright and early on Monday morning. I'll see you tier 2 this weekend for a beautiful Zoom call and a weekly brief. Other than that, have a good day. I'm out. See you.